Hi friends and welcome to our 6th day in South Korea. We are heading back to Seoul from Jeju, so we started off our day with genggering all our luggage into our car and of course picking up from my favorite boba shop for the road. A boba from Composed Coffee is only $3, which I will miss so much when I head back to the States. We had time for one more stop before we head to the airport, so we stopped by this waterfall. I'll write the name here because I don't want to butcher it. There were lots of gift shops on the way to the waterfall, so we stopped by the 3-Leaf Clover Coffee and Gift Shop. The owner was so friendly. This was one of my favorite gift shops in Jeju. They literally had everything souvenir that you can think of. I got this waterfall magnet, tangerine waterfall magnet, and they had the cutest postcard selections. I got these. They literally have everything here from tangerine themed souvenirs to stationery to tangerine themed plushies. And this was my final haul. The owner saw that we bought so much stuff, so she gave each of us gummies as a thank you gift, which we appreciate so much. We passed by the prettiest scenery and creek and another gift shop before finally arriving at the waterfall. There was this main waterfall and there was also these mini waterfalls on the side. After a long scenic walk, we drove to K Barbecue. You guys, this has to be the best galbi I have had. I miss it so much, and this would be one of the first places I would go to if I go back to Jeju. The inside was so spacious and had a nice view of Jeju. There was a family that finished their meal before us and told us to have a nice meal, which is so sweet. They have a self-serve bar, or what we think was a self-serve bar. We weren't sure, so we just self-served. This was the menu. It was on Korean, so we papa-goed it. We ordered mostly galbi, and the owner was so nice and cooked our galbi for us. Galbi was so flavorful and fresh. Please try the galbi here if you get a chance to go to Jeju. Our total was $74 total, so around $18.50 each, which I think is a really good price. They had candies for the road at the front, and then we were on our way to Helm Park before heading to the airport. We passed by the Hello Kitty Museum, which we did not have time for, but it was on our itinerary. The scenery for the highway was so green and scenic. This was so much different from highways back home. Back home, I feel like all I see is cement. We bought tickets to the park, and if you buy a certain amount of tickets, you get a free 1,000 won coupon. When we entered the park, there was a stamp booklet that we could use, so we tried to collect stamps throughout the park to save as a souvenir. Me and Legs fed the koi fish in the koi fish pond before heading to the cave. It was such a unique experience since I've never been to a cave before. It was cold, but not too cold, and you can hear the pitter patter of the water drops so clearly. We explored all the tunnels to Highland Park before heading to the gardens, where I found this persimmon tree that was 250 years old and was still growing strong and green. There was also this greenhouse near the garden that had the most beautiful flowers and trees. Everything about Highland Park is so aesthetic and scenic, and this place is definitely a day trip. We tried to get to as much of the park as we could before our flight. Our last stop was the gift shop, where I spent my 1,000 won on this really delicious tangerine popsicle. Look at how cute it is, and the worker helped us find the flavor that we would like. We refilled our gas tank before returning our rental car. We finally made it to the airport. After saying that we would be on our way to the airport, we got udon gelato for our dinner and then headed to our last gift shop in Jeju before boarding our flight. It was already nighttime by the time our flight left, and also because our flight was a little bit delayed, we took a taxi back home and then ended our day at the convenience store for my dinner since I hella late. You can enter the convenience stores here that don't have an attendant if you have a Korean credit card, so me and Lex just use Cindy's. I can finally make a South Korea convenience store TikTok friends. I got a watermelon juice, an onigiri, and a sausage. This place was an introvert's dream, aka mine. It was empty, self-serve, and they have a microwave and seating if you would like to eat there.